Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell. Hi, I'm Huell. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell. Hi, I'm Huell. Wait a minute. There's a helicopter coming here. Wait a minute. Oh, get out of here. Wow. Look. What is that? Let's get it out of here. Look at this. I saw one with my feet. Look at this. Oh, my God.
Oh, spring break
has arrived.
We got the bottles popped.
What do you got in your hand?
I got a beer.
I'm single fisting a Virgil's right here.
Yeah, it's root beer.
Beautiful microbrewed.
Yeah, we don't really drink, so we got root beers for spring break, but...
This your favorite root beer?
It's up there. Oh, well, like root beer as a drink or Virgil's as a root beer?
Let's go with the particular root beer.
Virgil's is top 3.
It's pretty good. I mean, in terms of being able to buy it.
Pretty much
readily.
Yeah.
Readily.
Yeah. Well, yours is Virgil's too, right? Number 1 of all time?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
What do you got?
Tower root beer.
What the freak is that?
It's an East Coast root beer. It's not the Tower District. It's not produced there in Fresno. It's on the East Coast. I forget exactly. Is it Boston? You were at my bachelor party.
I was.
Remember Jeff walked out and we were all showing each other our boxer briefs? He thought it was really weird.
Yeah, I never understood why he thought that was weird.
But yeah, you were at my bachelor party.
Of course. There were like 14 different root beers, though, that night.
Yeah, but if you notice, there was a 6-pack of Tower.
Hold on. Let me just look it up to see what it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I remember those. It's got that cool, like, old-timey script on the bottle.
Yeah. I think with root beers, this is obviously not to go off on too big of a tangent. Either you like the black licorice taste or you like the mint.
I'm a mint.
You're a mint guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Frosties.
Yeah. You know, Barks. Barks has bite. That's all I know. So I guess we can stop beating around the bush and get to
this is how we party, dude.
Well, I know, but we got everyone hanging by the seat of their pants.
Well, let's see how Huell parties.
Yeah.
On our spring break mystery ooble dooble twofer.
Yeah. Just to start... to let the cat out of the bag a little bit, we're doing 2 in 1. Let's see.
Ooble dooble.
Oobs doobs. Let's see. He'll tell us where we are. Spring break.
Hi, everybody. I'm Huell, and here we are on a very warm, sunny, windy winter day. And even though it's windy, it's still a perfect day to go to the beach. So here we are at Bombay Beach. Now, the only catch is that Bombay Beach is not on the ocean. It's on the sea, the Salton Sea, out here in the middle of the desert. And there is the little town of Bombay Beach right over there. We have arrived. We're heading into town. We're going to meet some of the locals, get a sense of direction there, and then we're going to head to the...
Well, while we're on spring break, Huell's on his winter break.
Yeah.
In Salton Sea.
The Salton Sea.
I should say the Salton Sea.
The Salton Sea.
Lived in the Bay Area too long.
Yeah.
Start dropping off the...
So, here's what we're doing this week. We're doing 2 episodes of visiting. We're straying from California's gold because we're in between seasons. We're kicking back with our Virgies. We just wanna kick it all around at the beach. Bombay Beach.
Mm-hmm. Want to Bombay down to the beach.
What? So
it's better in my head.
Yeah. This is probably one of the more famous locations that Huell goes to, and he goes there a number of times. This probably isn't the episode that everyone remembers most from the Salton Sea, in that this is not the time that he goes to Salvation Mountain or Slab City. Those are specific episodes a couple years down the road. But Bombay Beach is a classic. It was like in the top 5 viewed videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
Because it's weird. Like there's some wackos going on, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we wanted to throw this one in here because we're not going to be doing a lot of visitings necessarily, but this was highly recommended.
And you'll have noticed that the show started out a bit different because there wasn't really a theme song.
No, there is no theme to Visiting, the TV show.
So whereas last week we had the Downeyville Youth Crew,
yeah,
the group chant going on, this time we don't have that.
Root beer.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, I threw on our episode 0 theme, which is probably what we'll be doing for all of our mid-season episodes, because it's the classic fiddle version, yet played by Richard Chon and Eddie Enderle in the Center of California episode. Mm-hmm. And Richard is one of the people that we were able to get in touch with in our research of the show. And he told us some great stories. I mentioned him before.
There's a wild story in there, but
yeah,
we'll save that.
Yeah. Who knows how we'll ever get to tell it, but it's crazy. But yeah, he was in 2 episodes of the show. He was in the Weed Patch episode because he lived in Bakersfield at the time. He was a fiddle player. And
what's a weed patch?
Right? We'll be getting there. That'll be within this year. Mm-hmm. We'll get there. Maybe we'll even get in touch with Richard again, see if we can get him to tell some more stories. But yeah, then they were in this Center of California episode, which is one of the best episodes. It's such a unique idea. And Richard that's where the funny story happens, is on this episode. And that's the base of that theme this week. Just want to throw that out there because you may hear it from time to time for us. But into the meat of this visiting episode. Yeah, Huell did the cold open. He's at the Bombay Beach sign. That's what you were hearing. And then instant interview.
Yeah.
Instant.
I don't know. How do you think he stopped the car? Wave it down?
Like a way.
It's just stopped when we get to it.
Yeah. And the guy that he first talks to does not seem very helpful. He keeps trying to point him away from where he's at. Like, oh, you could go over here. You could get away over there. Oh, where's the beach? Oh, you just take this road and you get right there. It hits you. Not the best at directions. That's why his passenger or wife or someone.
No, but he does have a quote before they go to the passenger.
What does he say?
Huell asks him a question about Bombay Beach. And he says, quote, which is one of my favorite quotes. I don't know if my favorite so far. But he says, quote, "No bad habits round here."
Oh, yeah. What does that mean?
I don't know. And then then he talks to, presuming his wife.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's more helpful. I mean, she's still trying to point him to other beaches, but Huell has to keep her on track.
Yeah. And when they take off, did you notice they're driving straight for a sign in the dirt? Where were they going?
Yeah, they were just, it was almost like Pee Wee Herman when he takes off on the motorcycle in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Instead of a motorcycle, it's a Galaxy 500. But yeah, it was instant interview right in the road. And then we're on to
what Huell thinks is the ski cafe.
Ski Inn.
Ski Inn.
Yeah. I can't imagine why he would think that something spelled S-K-I would be ski. But instantly, a man and a woman standing by the mailboxes yell out, "It's Sky Inn!"
Which if I was looking at the sign, I would have thought it said skin.
S-K-I-I-N-N. Skin. Yeah. we don't have a lot of interviews going on in this episode. It's basically Huell and his compatriot for the duration, and that would be the mayor of Bombay Beach. Wonder if that was a real election.
I'm sure it was.
You don't think it's just an honorary title?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, benefit of the doubt. I'll say yeah.
True election.
It was a true election.
All right.
Well, we get to know, speaking of people who would vote, the population of Bombay Beach apparently is counted in mailboxes for this lady. He said, what's the population here? I don't know, 300 mailboxes.
She does. She doesn't look like your regular mail carrier because she's just wearing a red T-shirt and jeans. But everyone who is around the mailbox, it's a gang box, knows her because they start calling her by name, which is Gloria, and they say that that's the big highlight of the day is when Gloria shows up. And Huell is already with the mayor, which his name we learn is Wayne. But he goes by a nickname, which is Wacko. Which
Huell uses, and
he only calls him Wacko.
He calls him Wacko.
Hey, Wacko, what's with this? And just no hesitation whatsoever.
Well, before we leave, we get one more, I'm going to call it a micro interview.
Yeah.
Because Huell talks to a guy, and long story short, well, I guess it's short story short, but he asked him a question. Why did you come to live in Bombay Beach? This is another great quote. For quiet.
Yeah. Well, he seems to have come to the right place because this is a desolate area.
You've been here, right?
I have not. Have you?
Of course. Everyone who is anyone has been here.
Yeah. Well, I didn't remember that you went there. So all
That's
your
funny.
stories seemed brand new to me when we were doing our research yesterday.
Wow. We'll get to that once we actually get to the beach.
Well, did you meet Jane?
Oh, yeah, Jane.
Yeah.
She runs the
skin.
skiing. Yeah.
Did you really?
No, I didn't meet her.
Oh, okay.
No. We just stopped there and walked on the beach for a little bit.
Okay. So, okay. You actually were in Bombay Beach itself, not...
Yeah, it was an accident, for sure.
Okay. Because, I mean, Salton Sea is gigantic, so...
Right. We were driving... We stopped in Redlands. Mm-hmm. We went to Augie's Coffee, which is one of our favorites. And then Parliament. It's like a chocolate tier place. They do fancy chocolate.
Okay.
And then we drove all the way to Salvation Mountain.
Yeah.
It's 112 degrees. Soup's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Did the whole thing. Came back, and on the way back, we stopped in Bombay Beach. And we met 2 Marines. What's the military base out there? I forget. 29 Palms?
Look it up.
Hold on. We're back.
Yeah.
So the 2 Marines were apparently 29 Palms is the city. So
Yeah.
they were based out of 29 Palms. I'm sure there's military operations that go on out there.
Yeah.
But they were just as confused. Well, not confused, but it's sort of an interesting place to go to.
Oh, yeah. At first it seems, because Huell's talking to Jane. Jane seems to think that the big claim to fame of her establishment is the darts tournaments that they have on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which, okay, I'm sure darts it's a fun game. I've done it. But we looked at some pictures of the inside of the skin on Yelp, because it's still around. It still kind of looks the same. It's been painted. But the whole place on the inside is covered in dollar bills stapled to the wall, ceiling, everywhere. Which is amazing that Huell didn't go inside. Like, if he had seen it, it would have been one of those things that he's kind of freaking out about. But he didn't. Or maybe he did, and it was just too much for him.
I can't imagine.
Well, maybe it wasn't... Because if you look at the skin now, or then, I mean... Like, it's got the foil on the windows. It's just got all this junk kind of around it. It does kind of look little sketch.
A little sketch, yeah. No,
Yeah.
for sure.
But after Jane, Huell hooks back up with Wacko, and he starts the tour.
And here, Wacko tells us sort of about the history of Bombay Beach. There were not only 2 bars, including the American Legion, which he notes, the Skian and American Legion. There were 5 bars.
Yeah.
See, this makes more sense to me because my dad, when we were driving down, told me, oh, yeah, we used to go camping on the beach there. What? Because you think about it now, and especially going there, you feel like if you died, no one would find you.
Yeah.
Like, not a bad way. I mean, not like you're going to get...
Not that you're getting murdered out there, but just...
it's just, it's so desolate.
Yeah, very much so.
Very interesting place.
It's interesting in a number of ways because, like, when we were kind of going over the different episodes of Salton Sea subject matter in Huell's catalog of shows, that's how I learned how the Salton Sea came to be.
The big whoopsies.
The big whoopsies. Yeah, it was like an irrigation accident. It was like an irrigation canal that leaked.
Yeah.
For how long?
I think it was 2 years.
2 years,
yeah.
and created a 45-mile long inland lake just because they couldn't figure out how to close the valve or something. Whatever ended up happening, but it is funny that there is this giant accident out there, and it created multiple communities around it, including this one. But while Wacko's doing the tour around the Trade Winds, which is the closed down bar, one of the weirdest moments happened. Well, there's many weird ones in this.
Yeah, yeah.
But Huell starts to walk next to one of these like levees that they've built to keep the town from being flooded, and there's like a little picture on the ground. Mm-hmm. And Huell's like, "Oh, what's this?" And he's all like, kind of gets quiet, and it's like a picture. And Wacko just goes, "Oh yeah, someone probably broke in this place. They're always breaking in." Okay, and then they just go on down the road.
And he kind of mumbles a little bit, and he mentions something about his son, and then, I don't know, he goes, the bills. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's sort of like a...
It was the person who owned the place next door. They closed it down, and now his son he's stuck with all the bills, so...
But it was kind of drifting off.
Yeah.
It's sort of funny.
So there's one thing I noticed about old Wacko here as they're heading towards the beach, is that he's got a jacket that's a little familiar there.
It's sort of like the Fish Stick Man Light windbreaker version.
Yeah. It at first glance I thought Huell was being a gentleman and allowed Wacko to have the Fish Stick Man during this very windy day. Mm-hmm. But then you get up close, you notice, because we're kind of connoisseurs of the Fish Stick Man jacket at this point. It is not the same. But it's nice with his like faded jeans and the yellow jacket, and he's got a red cap on. It says something, we can't tell what it says.
That's a MAGA hat.
No. Another time traveler, Wacko's coming back so he can get those hats. I don't think so. We're at the beach now. We're at Bombay Beach with Wacko and Huell. And this is where your dad used to go as well.
Yeah.
It looked like this when you went, because that was what?
Yeah, there's also another place. I forget exactly. Mecca? There's another city. It's on the east side of the sea, though.
But did it look pretty much like this?
Yeah, so
when you went?
Where he is, it almost looks... There's a lot of open sand areas. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show you where we were. Hold on just a second.
All right, so yeah, you were right there.
Yeah, you see the grid pattern of the city.
Yeah.
Curved dead end. I think it's 5th Street. What's that? What it was?
Yeah. So...
Just climbed the dune and went to the beach.
And you mentioned sand.
Yeah.
It's not all sand, is it?
No. A lot of it. Well, we'll probably get to it a little later because Huell You know, the mic placement that he does a little later when he's talking to.
Yeah. That's what I was referencing.
You want to get to that now?
Just hit it. It's too funny.
Them as dead fish bones.
Yeah, because a lot of the thing that goes on in this episode is everyone's being really defensive of the town because I guess they've been getting a lot of negative press back then because the fish keep dying and dying and dying.
There's lots of dead fish. So we have a picture, Kathleen, and so our feet facing down just with the dead fish. And it's not so much the dead fish because it doesn't smell particularly weird or anything like that. The flies.
Yeah.
The flies are what...
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Well, Huell is pretty interested in the fish bones that he's walking on. That's what you were
crunching.
That's what you were referencing. He puts the mic down to his feet. Crunch, crunch, crunch. At that point, he's met up with Steve Horvitz, who's the superintendent of the state beach there. And he's a spin artist.
Okay. Before we get to Steve.
Yeah.
So let's hold that. Let's pause that real quick. Before we get to Steve. When Wacko is describing the mountains, Huell says, wow, these are beautiful mountains.
Oh, when he went up on the dune buggies?
He's like, yeah, we take our dune buggies up there, because they're burial grounds for those people that have kicked the bucket.
They go spread the ashes of the bucket kickers up in the mountains. And then he throws in, the military caught us up there, almost gave us tickets. Well, yeah, dude, you're throwing your ashes everywhere on what I assume is military base property.
He's the mayor, though.
I know.
Can't they write an ordinance?
You'd think.
Yeah, throw some dead dust.
I guess. But yeah, when they're hooked up with Steve, he's just like spinning everything to be positive, and he seems like he's had to try and sell this place for people a lot.
Yeah.
Which, I guess if you just read about it in a newspaper in the 90s and you hear about this big crazy lake with a bunch of dead fish everywhere, you'd think like, we got to do something about this, or I'm never going there. And obviously, like, it got you guys to go out there.
Yeah.
It's a weird California oddity place. I want to go. So during the time that he's with Steve and Wacko, he kind of breaks down how they survive out there because there's no stores at this time anyway. So they have to drive 37 miles one way to the city of Nyland to go grocery shopping once a month as a town is how he kind of describes it. But then he kind of stops himself as if it's some secret he's about to let out. Did you notice this?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because he's mumbling so bad. He's just saying like, "Oh yeah, we go about once a month." I can't really say that, but we look out for each other. What? What are you doing?
So do you think Huell, because his reaction to, you go once a month? It was sort of that reaction.
Yeah.
And when we did the Grand Central Market episode,
Yeah.
Huell also mentioned something.
That's right.
About shopping.
He says that he's not really one for grocery shopping.
I'm not one for grocery shopping. Maybe that's why he was so surprised.
Maybe them going once a month sounded like a lot to him.
Right, that's way too much. He goes once a year.
If that, I guess. Yeah, it seems like an odd place out there. But it does seem like everyone's kind of got each other's back.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say you were mentioning this, that people have the city's back because we get to meet Lee.
Yep.
Who I was expecting more the way Steve was talking about her, but she did say one good thing. I thought she was going to be well.
Describe how she looks too, because as they're walking up to her, it looks like this is going to be a gem of an interview.
Right. Well, she's. Would you call that a muumuu?
Totally would.
She's basically wearing from the neck down. She looks like Mimi from Drew Carey's show.
Yeah. That's dead on. Because it also looks like she's wearing like clashing blue pants underneath the muumuu. Turns out that's a big old knee brace.
Yeah.
Because she shlamied her knee doing something. But yeah, she's very defensive.
Yeah, because he gives her a few jokes.
Uh-huh.
And I think she's going to respond.
No,
not at all. She shuts him down.
Yeah.
Okay, not funny. And then she tells Huell that if he puts out bad news about Bombay Beach, he's going to be a dead duck. And his face when he turns around.
Yeah.
And it just cuts off. It's good.
It does seem like she was getting ready to say something way worse than dead duck.
Yeah.
Maybe it rhymed with duck.
Well, she's like, your A is G and I'm going to smoke it.
There you go. So yeah, Lee's short. Not in stature. She is short compared to Huell, but her interview is short.
It's a micro interview.
There you go. Yeah. Micro view. No, that doesn't sound good. Then they head to what is probably the more interesting looking area of the Bombay Beach landscape, I guess. That whole flooded area.
Oh, right. Yeah. With the salt deposits.
Yeah, because they kind of go over to this area and Huell's just flabbergasted. He keeps saying, look at that. Look at that. Because there's a whole area of town that was flooded in the 70s because I think Steve describes that there are multiple rivers that feed into the Salton Sea, but there's no outlet. It doesn't ever go anywhere. So if the water level rises, it stays risen.
Right.
So part of the town flooded. It is very salty water. What they say, 20% saltier than the ocean.
Mm-hmm. But not as salty as the Great Salt Lake.
Yeah, so it's the second saltiest body of water in the contiguous United States. Anyway, things get real weird and dark over here. And, it's fitting because it is kind of like a desolate, odd place. But Wacko gets kind of quiet for a bit. And then he chimes in. Because they come near his property, right?
They do. He looks at the structure and he says, my girlfriend got burnt up in a fire. And what does Huell say?
Oh, gosh.
It was so dark.
And then that's the end of that. Huell instantly changes subjects and talks to Steve. Because Huell is not about trying to get into the psyche of Wacko.
No.
About his dead girlfriend.
That's deep.
Yeah.
It's too deep for the show. So we sort of skipped it. That's okay. Being a little out of order here. But when they're walking on the beach, when Huell does the mic to pick up the crunch of the fish. Yeah, and he says, these are fish bones. Right? That's kind of that's what he does. He puts the mic down there, gets the sound. But Steve, the superintendent, tells Huell that this was the recreation capital of the United States.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, I think he's doing a
sell job?
Yeah, he's selling it for sure. And he says, the Beach Boys... he says, the Beach Boys recreated here. And so the first thing I thought was, well, if they liked it so much, why didn't they change their name to the Bombay Beach Boys?
Come on, dude. It's a cool place, but that's not going to sell some records.
How do you know?
I guess we'll never know.
And then Steve tells a joke as they're walking towards the area that we just talked about, the really dark place they're going
Salt
to.
deposit area.
Yeah. Basically gives Huell a joke. Talking about the hardware store. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He said, if we don't got it, then you don't need it. And Huell just railroads that joke.
Yeah.
Just keeps on going.
Doesn't even give a care.
That was one of my favorite parts. Even though it makes me feel weird.
Yeah, poor Steve.
Steve got... Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, well. But Huell does mention that he thinks Bombay Beach is very interesting and Salton Sea is in general. And they kind of go over some stuff about the seabirds and all the natural flora and fauna that exist there. But Huell's doing a good job of keeping things light and positive to end the show, because I think that was his mission to go out here, because he was probably hearing those bad news stories and thinking like, don't you talk bad about my sea.
But I thought he did a pretty good... He made Bombay Beach seem interesting. I mean, would you go there?
I'd say yes.
Okay.
Maybe not this year, but soon.
Well, if we do... So when we went there, like I said, we left Redlands. Well, technically we stayed in Rialto in the...
motel.
That's the Wigwam Motel.
Oh, all right.
And then we drove all the way down.
Pictures of you guys in that.
And then we came right back up and we stayed in Palm Springs, which I love Palm Springs, and I don't know why.
Because Huell lived there.
Maybe because Huell lived there. But a lot of people, I wouldn't say they speak poorly of it. But it's always, it's too hot. Oh, it's this and that.
Where were these people from that you were talking, who were talking this mess?
I wouldn't say they're geographically specific to any part of California. But I would just
Palm
say that...
Springs is really popular amongst people like in Southern California, meaning like LA and stuff.
Right, yeah. I guess it depends on if you're a desert person, too.
Yeah.
And if you like mid-century modern.
That does help.
But, yeah. So, anyway.
But, yeah, that whole high desert area is quite interesting. We'll be heading there many more times to come.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to wrap up episode 1 of our, what'd you call it? What?
No, the Ouble Double.
The Ouble Double.
And like you said, there aren't any yuppie amenities there, but you can get yourself a good spaghetti dinner.
That's right.
All right, so where are we going next on the Double part?
Don't ask me. Ask Huell.
Okay, he'll tell us.
Hello, everybody. I'm Huell Hauser. You know, in all the years I've been doing stories for television, reporting for television, there is one story that stands out above all the rest. It's a story that literally, it's the kind of experience that happens to a reporter, if they're lucky, once in their lifetime. It happened about 15 years ago when we spent the day with Charlie Franks, who was a retired elephant trainer, and his beloved elephant, his beloved friend, Nita. So right now we're going to go back in time 15 years to that magical day with Charlie Franks and Nita. Meet the Franks family, Charlie, his wife Madeline, and Nita. Now Charlie's an elephant man, been fascinated with them all his life. And he got Nita back in 1955 when she was still a baby, only 5 years old. Well, it was love at first sight, and they traveled together all over the world, appeared in circuses and parades, and lots of TV shows with famous people, like Eve Arden and Billy Barty and Lucille Ball. Then, in the early 1970s, Charlie retired. And rather than selling his beloved elephant and leaving her with an uncertain fate, he donated her to the San Diego Wild Animal Park. That was 15 years ago. Well, Charlie's wife has passed away, and his health isn't as good as it used to be. So recently he decided he'd go see his old friend. We went along, and it was a most remarkable...
As you heard, this is a visiting episode, but it's really about a video log.
Yep.
Is this a triple dog dare ya? Is it 3 episodes?
It is 3 episodes.
Kinda, sorta.
Yeah, in a way.
But this is probably our most requested episode. And this is how we're going about it, because Videolog is still a KCET show, so they're not available on Chapman. But because Huell did a visiting on this video log, we have access to it. Probably because it was his most famous one.
Right. He mentions a few times that a reporter only gets one time in their life. A story like this only comes along once.
And as you heard, it's about Nita the elephant and his trainer, Charlie Franks.
And we get to, what's her full name?
Sonita.
Sonita.
And, I mean, this really is quite a touching story that back in 87, Huell took Charlie to meet Nita for the first time in a number of years after he donated her once he retired to the San Diego Wild Animal Park. And I think the part that pulls at everyone's heartstrings is that Nita comes right up to Charlie when he calls her, even though he calls her in such a weird way.
Yeah, it's very commanding.
Nita, get over here. Someone liable to get you. What? It's a funny kind of, older man way of talking, but this is got some stuff in it that always kind of gets me to choking, is when old men are emotional.
Right, that's rough.
I mean, it happens in movies a lot. It's kind of like a go-to emotional button to push. Mm-hmm. But, this is about an elephant. And
I noticed they kept Huell out of a lot of the shots because his guns were ablazing in 87.
I don't think they could have fit the elephant and the guns in the same shot. Yeah.
Just a side note.
Mm-hmm. Because he's wearing like a medium-sized polo when he should be wearing a double X.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Like during those eras, maybe Huell was like a medium and a half.
Minimum.
Men.
This is video log, so it's got a bit of a different kind of rhythm to it. There's not as much narration or kind of talking from Huell. He kind of lets the shots do the talking themselves, so there's a lot of the elephant doing its routine and stuff. But the one thing that they go to over and over is that this guy would feed this elephant jelly beans.
And feeding, technically, yes.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he plopped those. He kind of just tosses them in the elephant's mouth.
Yeah.
Do you figure they were jelly bellies too?
No, because there's one little split second in the scene where you can see him kind of rolling them in his hand before he plops. And they're like those big... okay, so when you go to the gas station and there's always like the big aisle of candy and you got all the candy bars and the gums and the Skittles and all that stuff, the way that's lined up. But then usually on the opposite side behind you, there are those red and yellow like bags of candy that are always 2 for $50 or two for $1.
The orange slices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's orange slices and gumdrops and jelly beans, licorice, like basic candies. Mm-hmm. They're those.
Okay.
Is that kind of a traditional jelly bean?
What are those called?
Look it up.
Hold on.
All right, we're back. It's Gurley's brand. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
But that's the package.
Yeah,
we're looking at it.
2 for $1 or 59 cents each.
That's right. I would get these from time to time because, sometimes you had $1 and you didn't want to spend the whole thing on a Butterfinger king size because that's only one. So you get the jelly beans and maybe an orange slice, like you said.
Yeah.
Huell interviews Charlie and he kind of tells his stories of Nita and how, elephants are so good at remembering and that they know an elephant man, if you're an elephant man or not. But there's this term that we do not.
Not Elephant Man like the movie, right?
Not at all. Just a man who trains elephants, I think. But he says an elephant knows when you talk to him if you're an elephant man or a floor flusher. What the heck are you talking about, Charlie?
A floor flusher?
Yeah.
Let's look it up.
All right.
I'm glad we looked this up.
Yeah, because we heard it wrong completely.
It's a 4-flusher.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4 flusher. And it's a poker term, I guess?
Yeah, because you're one card away from having a flush.
So you're just, like, you're bluffing.
Lady Gaga, yeah. You have a poker face.
Okay. All right, so the elephants either know if you're an elephant man or a 4-flusher. So it is it's a very touching story, but it also kind of gets a little sad because Charlie admits that he probably won't go see Nita again after this because the travel was hard on him, and he's going to have to rest for 24 hours after this trip, so he's not coming back. And yeah, that's kind of the end of the video log portion of this. Since a lot of it is just kind of shots of them doing their tricks and whatnot. But we fast forward to the present.
2002.
Well, actually, to part of the present.
Right.
This episode has got a lot of timelines going. So, yes, we're fast forwarding in 2002. And this is where we started at the beginning. You heard the clip of Huell describing the video log episode. And he's now at the San Diego Wild Animal Park again, 15 years later. And he gives us the bad news. Oh, man.
Charlie fell asleep.
Forever sleep.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's an old man. He passed away.
He knew it.
But Huell kind of tells the nice story that he and Charlie remained friends after this and talked frequently. And that was cool. In fact, at the... well, I'll tell that later on. But we get more information on Nita herself from Jeff Andrews, the new animal care manager, who kind of just runs down some stats. I'm going to throw them out there. Nita, she's 53 years old in 2002. She's spent 29 years in the park. So over half of her life was spent at the park. Who knows if she remembers Charlie anymore? So she's 53. And then he says the average age of an Asian elephant, which was a funny little bit that Huell said because he says, oh, so she's Asian. It seemed almost like borderline insensitive to racism or something. But she's an elephant. The average age is 60 to 70 years. So she's getting up there. But
she was still kicking in 2002.
Yeah, they were keeping her going with the exercises and everything. And
they said keeping her mind healthy.
Yeah.
Before we get to Ed,
okay,
let's go back to Jeff because he does an interview switcheroo. The first time I've seen it on Huell.
Well, Huell's interviewing him, saying that, "Oh, Jeff, you must have seen the tape from video log that this is surreal. It's amazing to see Nita after all these years." And then Jeff switches it up.
He just flips it and says, "Yeah? How does she look?"
Yeah. It's like, "Oh, this must be emotional for you. Tell me, how does she look?" "Well, she looks great, but you tell me." And then Huell just, bam, slams him back.
Just like that.
Who's holding the microphone, Jeff?
Well, he does have his hands on his hips.
He does.
Looks pretty conf.
Get out of here, Jeff. Make way for Ed.
We want Ed. Bring Ed.
Here comes Ed. Ed is... I'm calling him the stepdad.
I sort of feel bad for Ed. Do you?
A little bit, yeah.
Because Huell talks about Charlie. It's almost like talking about, let's say, Ed's the new husband, right? And Charlie was the ex-husband. Nita was the widow. Okay, so and Huell is like a guy who knew Charlie and now is meeting the new husband.
Yeah.
And sort of talks so highly of Charlie that I feel bad for Ed.
He keeps giving all of Nita's, training credit to Charlie. Like, oh, well, she knew all this from before. And Ed's sitting there having to deal with, like, raking the tons of elephant poop everywhere. And he's just like, oh, yeah, he did a good job. But I'm the dad now.
Yeah. Well, then I think it even comes to the point where Huell says, well, maybe there'll be a new Ed.
Yeah.
Which is
Like
pretty
he's
good.
already going past Ed.
But there was something that you noticed about Ed. That he never finishes a sentence.
No. He kind of trails off and starts a new thought before he can finish the old one. That's a weird thing that I noticed about people when they talk, because I started noticing it in a podcast I listened to. Sorry, bro, like you'll ever hear this. Chris Hardwick of The Nerdist, now ID10T, he's horrible at that. He'll start a sentence and then trail off into something else. It's usually the same subject, but it's almost like he's trying to one-up his own sentences. And Ed kind of did this, where he didn't know how to put the period.
So, do you think, is it clear to you that Ed knows Charlie died?
No. Because there was that moment, huh?
Yeah.
When he said, Huell said, don't you wish you could have met the old man? And Ed says, well, I did meet him once. I mean, he can come back whenever he wants. And Huell just lets it fly out, and just switches back around. Switches over to Jeff. So, Jeff, blah, blah, blah. The trunk is really big, huh? But it's right around that same time when Nita blows a snot rocket on Huell's shirt.
Yeah. He goes, whoa!
Yeah, he is not into it. Huell doesn't really strike me as one who had a lot of pets, because there's a point when Nita is like trying to get his attention with the trunk, and Huell touches the trunk, kind of like tips of fingers, just little touchies, and he says, is touching petting her? And Jeff had to be like, yeah, Huell, I mean, if you're touching her, you're petting her. So I don't think Huell had a bunch of dogs.
No, I don't think so. There's obviously some sort of interesting communication issues going on as well. Is when Huell sees the backside of Nita, do you remember what he said?
No.
He said, oh, I don't want to be by her tail.
What?
You remember that?
Now that you say it, I do, but I don't get, like... So yeah, Huell mentions that he doesn't want to get that close to the tail after seeing what she did with her trunk,
And then...
implying a load blow in his direction.
Right. But then Charlie says, oh, no, it's just the tail. Right, and then he'll have to say again, like, no, I wouldn't be that close to her backside.
Well, also, if you notice, Jeff's got his hand on Huell's back, like not letting him back up. So Huell's just feeling forced towards this elephant's big butt. I don't blame him. He's not cut out for this kind of thing.
How much pressure Jeff's putting on the center of his back right there.
Huell's a big guy. He could get out of there if he wanted.
Good. He's leaning back. You can tell.
Yeah.
About 90% of his weight's on that back foot.
Yeah. Man, poor guy.
The final interaction that you mentioned to me, I thought was hilarious, was Huell's handshake transition to bro shake.
Yeah. When they're saying their goodbyes and everything.
Yeah, there's a bro handshake.
Yeah. Because he's talking to Ed, and he's just, because Huell, he's a handshaker. He loves to shake hands, and he'll shake hands for a long time, like the whole time he's saying his goodbyes, blah blah blah, shake shake shake. But this time, he's shaking Ed's hand, traditional shake, and he's got to he's referencing Nita. So for him to be able to point at Nita, he transitions to the bro shake and points with the index finger, since it is now freed up in the bro shake position.
Oh, it's so good.
It's seamless.
What if he brought
too.
Ed down to one knee, too?
Ed would know what to do with himself.
Oh, man.
But yeah, that's the end of part 2 of episode 2.
And part 3 is very short.
Yeah, because we're fast forwarding again.
So to 2012. And just like this was the end of that segment,
Yeah.
the end of Anita's life happened in this segment. Sunita died in 2008.
Yeah.
So while people were thinking about the Great Recession,
Yeah.
Huell was thinking about Nita.
I don't think he was having to wallow in his grief for too long, since he's seems to be on a golf course while he's doing this this farewell, wearing a Palm Springs hat. So he's living the good life out there in the Coachella Valley over there. And it is sad though, like Charlie, Nita, they're all, I mean, Huell too. Pretty much everyone in this whole episode. Huell always kept it. He's always able to flip it around, because that's when he said that thing about the once in a lifetime line.
Right. Yeah, so it was somber, but he turned it into something a bit happier.
Yeah.
When we think about it, he's dealt with, just in these 2 episodes, 3 death stories.
That's right.
We dealt with Wacko's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay, we get old Charlie. Charlie passes on, and we get Nita.
We're gonna have to take a note from him, because this is sad stuff.
It is.
Maybe, I mean, did we pick the right ones for this spring break mystery vortex?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we did not pick the right ones. I'll just say it that way.
Well, if I can try and do my best Huell spin move, even though we had to end on a note of the end of one's life, this is the beginning of the new Huell's Gold Season 2.
I like that.
Because we got many seasons to go. We've only got one in the bag.
We have a lot to do.
We got like 21 more seasons to go.
Oh, there's a lot.
But I got to tell you, this is going to be one of the best seasons ever.
Season 2?
Season 2. I'm calling it. Personally, professionally, positively, perfect season.
All right. I like it.
I think we need to end this episode with a preview of what we're getting next week.
Let's do it.
Now, what's going on over here?
We're making what they call golf dolls, which are made from these oak pieces.
From oak pieces?
I don't really know what they are, but they're part of the oak tree.
I
and they
see.
gather them up in the fall when they're this color. In the spring, they turn ugly brown.
Uh-huh.
And then, well, this is what they look like.
Oh, I see. Look, here's the doll without
her clothes on.
Oh, I see. There's the salt.
We had rain yesterday, so there's a freshwater layer that's lighter than the salt water that's floating on top.
What are you
today.
laughing about? Well, look at this man. What are you laughing about back here? What are you laughing about?
Now,
You couldn't taste the salt.
have you tasted it?
Have you tasted it yet?
No. You should. It's a good
put
way to
your finger
understand
in there
this
and let me
lake.
laugh at you. See, it's got a... Not bad. This parade starts with a bang. Now, is this part of the tradition of Bacchae for you to be pounding this?
That's right. They lead the parade with a lot of noise, and so everybody know the parade's coming.
Well, now you got earplugs in your ears.
Kind of loud.
Okay, go back to it. Let's
Okay.
see what you can do.
That's good. All right.
Did you know much about missions before you came here today?
No, because this is my first time I've been to a mission.
Really? And what do you think after you've been here?
I think missions are really neat.
Now we're all going to be male grunions. Let's all be males. Very good. And let's swim out of the water like a male. Swim out of the water. Very, very good. Hop onto the sand. And look for a female. Everyone do this, please. Look for a female. Now give her a big hug, just like this. Good. Okay, we've got children in the group. We're going to skip the next step, and the milk goes down the body.
What do you think about the walk?
It is cool.
This is really something. Really, I mean, this is... I don't think I've ever walked through an old town like this before.
Well, this is truly a ghost town. There's nothing to see, really.
They ain't no front end and back end.
Well, did you laugh at them? Did you kind of make fun of them?
It was better to go to the trail in the morning than going to a rodeo. It was a rodeo. That horse, half of them old horses had never been rode but once. So you know what them devils were like. They were wilder than hell, you know.
So you were watching a lot of these city slickers.
I used to go every morning. I never missed it. It was a 3-ring circus every morning.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then.
Woo!
That sounds good.
I'm excited for those ones. We got some special stuff in store. We got maybe some, what would you say? Some location scouting to do for maybe
an on-site show.
An on-site show. We got a lot coming up. And we want to thank you for sticking with us for the whole first season. And we also
invite you to our second season as we continue our search for
Huell's Gold.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Hauser. Hi, I'm Huell Hauser. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Hauser. Hi, I'm Huell Hauser. Wait a minute. There's a helicopter coming. Wait a minute. Oh, get out of here. What is that? Let's get it out of here. Look at this. I thought what was my feet. Look at this. Oh, my God. And there they are, Louie, up there. That is an amazing sight to see as we continue our search for California's gold.